Give him 4 months off to properly train. The knee is as good as it's going to be. I suspect you're going to get even a better Connor McDavid in these playoffs.
Well, it's been far too long since we've seen Connor McDavid take to the ice, burn a defenseman wide, and make almost everybody on the ice look like they're standing flat-footed. But the time has almost arrived. It's the Oilers versus the Blackhawks in the play-in round. And joining me now to talk about that is Mark Spector. Mark, let's first talk about the man himself, Connor McDavid. Obviously, he would be what many would consider the X factor of this series. But is he enough for the Oilers to single-handedly get them past the Blackhawks?
Well, I wouldn't say that he's single-handedly enough, but, let's talk about McDavid. This is a guy that came off of a torn PCL in his knee and had an unbelievable season. He was the second leading scorer in the league, would have challenged for the Art Ross if he didn't miss about 7 games. So think back, Shawn, every guy I've ever covered, 99% of the guys who had a serious knee injury, their first season back, they're never as good, right? They just aren't the same player. Well, this playoff after 4 months off kind of represents the next season for Connor McDavid. So if he came back from that PCL and was able to be the second leading scorer in the National Hockey League, give him 4 months off to properly train. The knee is as good as it's going to be. I suspect you're going to get even a better Connor McDavid in these playoffs.
So you have Connor McDavid who can take over a game at will at times. Then you have Leon Draisaitl who in his own right can be dominant. But they've had those two guys for a while, and that hasn't necessarily meant playoff or even regular season success in the last couple of seasons. So why is this year different? Behind those two superstars, is this a deeper Oilers team?
Yeah, this isn't basketball, right? You can have Draisaitl and McDavid, and they made the playoffs in 2017, and that's the last time they made the playoffs in like 13 years. So yes, they are a deeper team. That's why they hung around the top of the Pacific all season this year. They've got more top 6 players. Nugent Hopkins is playing up with McDavid. This Kyler Yamamoto kid has proven himself very a good right winger fit with Leon Draisaitl. They got Zach Kassian up top as a real nice fit, that third bigger body on the top line. They've got penalty killers now in the bottom 6, right? This is the club that it was the second best penalty kill in the league behind San Jose. So it's got the best PK coming in the playoffs. Good depth with guys like Riley Sheahan and Archibald and Alex Chason. Just solid NHL players, not guys who would be on the AHL on a good team, which is what the Oilers have had. If you go back to their defense, they're coming in the playoffs with 7 legitimate National Hockey League defensemen, and then a couple guys behind that can fill in a pinch. So this is a way deeper team, Shawn, and a team that has a far better chance of surviving in those games and maybe winning the odd one when McDavid and Draisaitl don't carry them.
So they have more talent up front. They're deeper on the blue line, which leaves us maybe the big question mark for the Oilers. That would be between the pipes. Are we going to see a rotation? Are we going to see one guy start and run with it? What do you expect goaltender-wise from the Oilers?
Well, I think we're really at a crossroads in playoff goaltending, Shawn. And the Oilers are probably a real sort of beacon in this thing. We see more teams now going 50-50 goaltending all season long. That's become a new trend, right? There's more travel. There's a tighter, more compact schedule. And it works going 50-50 in the regular season. But we've all become accustomed in hockey lore to taking one goalie and riding them through the playoffs, right? So I think the Oilers are a good example of a team that, they got here by splitting the games basically between Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen. And now in a real compact playoffs here, there's going to be back-to-back games in the first round for sure, and probably beyond, because there's no travel, remember. You're going to need 2 goalies here. You're going to need 2 goalies to have success. So maybe, I'm just throwing this out there, Shawn, maybe the pendulum swings a little bit away from the team that goes one guy 90% of the time, and a team that has 2 goalies that can, handle back-to-back games and give you commensurate goaltending one night after the other.
Well, Mark, thanks so much for doing this. And I think it's fair to say, whether you're an Oilers fan or not, it's been far too long since we've seen Connor McDavid on the ice for some playoff action. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Shawn.